Welcome to the GHE. This tutorial is on clear rod encased colored tubing. I'm going to start with a piece of pre-made color that I have left over from a different project. I need to get this blown out into a cylinder shape. So I'm just going to start by cleaning up the end of it. And then I'll begin to get the whole thing warm so I can blow it out. I'm going to go ahead and attach my blow hose to the end just to make this easier. Alright, start getting it liquid hot. So the colors that I'm using are an opaque orange with a transparent yellow over the top of it. The transparent yellow is a silver-based color, so I want to be able to show you guys what happens when you clear coat a silver-based color with rod. It leaves striations in the glass, and this can be beautiful. It's just whether or not you want it to be there. Now that we've got this liquid hot, I'm going to take it to the torch marker, and I'm going to gently blow while I rotate. It's just pulling it into that cylinder shape for me. I'm going to pop a hole in the end of this. I want to have clear on both ends of this tube so that when I stripe it with the clear coat later on, I don't end up with thick and thin spots in my color. That way as well, when I'm pulling off the scrap, I can save as much of my color as possible. So I'm just going to open up the end of this hole to the same size as the clear that I'm going to attach. I'm just going to use one of my old handles. This is going to be scrap glass when we're done anyways. Get the two liquid hot and bring them together. So we're going to want about 1.5 to 2 inches of this clear tubing. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that off. Okay, now we're going to want to condense that clear down and start blowing the whole end out to be the same diameter cylinder as what we've already created in the color. So just keep getting the end of that clear hot. It'll all melt backwards. Give it a little bit of air. Go back in on where they're sealed together. Give it some more air. So I'm going to get this hot, and the next time I'm going to bring it to my marver and push it into that cylinder shape. So gently blow. There we go. So I'm going to pop a hole in this end so that I can put a handle on it and switch directions. This is a really good quick application for making clear coated color, especially on small sections. I do recommend that if you're doing this for larger sections that you do it with a clear tube rather than rods, but you need to know how to do it always. Okay, attach the handle. And then I'm going to burn off my original handle, but I want to leave behind that 1.5 to 2 inches of clear glass to be able to blow out the other side. Reattach my blow hose and start getting that clear nice and hot. Just going to give it a little bit of air and come back in on where those were originally sealed together. Okay, give it a little more air. It's blowing out kind of funny, so put some more heat in it, and I'm going to use the marver to get it into that final shape for me. It's not quite even, so I'm going to get the whole thing hot and do that again. Gently blow. Okay, that's a good cylinder. Now we can go ahead and start clear coating it. I'm using 6mm clear rods. When I do this, I want to start on the clear of the bubble and draw all the way through the color and end on the clear again. So start on the clear, draw all the way down, and pull off on the clear. The rod in my right hand is slowly turning clockwise because the flame is always hitting the rod from the bottom side. By turning the rod clockwise, you're actually pushing the most liquid side of this rod up against the line that you had previously drawn. That way you've got that hot line coming in contact with the hottest part of the new line. It just makes sure that the two melt together as you do this and that you're not trapping air bubbles in the seam between each line. So just slowly rotate. It's like a half a turn or less for the entire length of this. As long as you just keep working your way all the way around, you know that your new line is being pressed up against the hottest line that was already on the piece. Just makes the whole thing go much smoother. Just be careful that it's the rod that you're getting hot and you're not liquefying your tube. If you liquefy your tube, you'll start to pull on the color and stretch it. Alright, so we're getting almost around to the other side. Okay, for the last one, just fill that gap. Alright, now we've got a good clear coated tube. The whole thing needs to get melted together. So just in case there are air bubbles in this, between those lines, just start melting from one end to the other. That way, any air bubbles in there have a chance of getting pushed out. If you just start melting the whole thing at once, you can trap all of them. Alright, now we got a good melt to it. So there's multiple ways to do this. You could just start grabbing the clear with a clear rod and pulling it off. I'm going to use my diamond shears. Just little nips beginning to pull it out. I'm not cutting through the glass quite yet. I'm slightly pulling as I'm nipping it down. Okay, so this is thicker than the original tube. It's also a little bit uneven. So after I clean up the tip and just make sure it's closed, I want to start heating this up to blow it out a little bit. This is going to help to even out the wall thickness of the glass so that it's ready for future applications. Alright, so a little bit of air, still not really happy with the thickness, so I'm going to do that again. Alright, that's looking a lot better. Okay, now that I'm happy with that shape, I'm going to pop a hole in the end so I can attach a handle and switch directions. That way we can clean up the other side and get it blown out. Okay, heat up both tubes and get them ready to seal together. So go right in on the other side and pull it off. So I'm going to do the same thing as before. I'm going to get all of this clear liquid hot, and then I'm going to grab my diamond shears and start cutting into it. So just grab and pluck, grab and pluck. When you find a spot that you're happy with, just nip it down and cut it off. Alright, so I'll clean up the tip on this side and then heat the whole thing up and blow it out. Don't mind the brown stuff in my tube. That's leftover wax from the last time I made a glass on glass fitting. Okay, so that last time I got the whole thing hot to make sure that when I give it some air, it all blows out nicely. And that's it. This concludes our tutorial on clear rod encased colored tubing. Thank you for subscribing to the GHE.